Hey guys, today's video is the second video in my three-part series on how to design duct systems for mainly residential, but it will work for commercial too. Uh, you know, pay real close attention to some of the finer details here. I'm just going over it very quickly. I do recommend picking up the Manual D Residential Duct Systems book. You can find it on Amazon or just Google it and you'll find it. And it's in the video too, so you'll be able to see what it looks like. Very cool book. I used to teach this class when I was working up in Washington when I was much better at it and I was doing it every day. But, just a basic overall landscape of how to do this. I'm not going to get into in depth. This is mainly to motivate you to go out and get the book and start doing it properly if you aren't right now. I know a lot of you will probably just get the software and do it, but to each their own. It's nice to be able to do stuff on paper. I always like doing stuff on paper because it keeps my brain working. So enjoy the video, guys. Okay, guys, so we're going to do this in the most basic forms here. I'm not going to bombard you with all the information. If you really want to learn duct design, you need to go out and buy the Manual D Manual D for Residential Duct Design book, which you can find on Amazon or pretty much anywhere. Just Google it. So if you need a link to that, let me know. So the first thing that you want to do to design a proper duct system that you know is going to work, well, before you do this, is you need to go into the manufacturer's blower data and find out at what external static pressure will give you the design CFM that you were looking for, based on the video that I showed you yesterday, how to convert your heat loss and gain analysis into CFMs. Once you know how many CFMs that you need, then you're able to go into the manufacturer's blower performance data and find out what external static pressure will produce the CFM that you need. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. If it doesn't, let me know. So once you know what your blower performance data is and what CFM it'll produce at that, then what you want to do is measure out your duct system. Okay, so first thing that we need to know is, what is our total equivalent length of our duct system, okay? And I'll get into this in a second. Let me show, but I want to show you how we determine where we put the friction rate on our ductulator, our slide rule, okay? We don't just go 0.1, we just don't go 0.08. There's a science behind it, and there's an equation that gets us to that point on our ductulator where we can use it properly instead of guessing. So that's over here, and we're going to get to all this stuff too. But what it is, so this is a friction rate. This is what you're going to pick on your ductulator, your slide rule. So that friction rate equals your available static pressure times 100 feet of equivalent duct divided by your total equivalent length, which is that total equivalent length, okay? TEL. How do we determine that? Let's go over here to our components. So in the Manual D Residential Duct Design book, let me show you guys the book here real quick. So this is the book, Manual D Residential Duct Systems, okay? So if you thumb through this, there's a section that tells you what your... Sorry about the lighting, guys. Kind of doing this on the fly, but I'm trying to keep it basic and not just bombard you with a ton of information. It gives you different fittings that you'll use in the field. It gives you total equivalent lengths for those, okay? Let's show you the basic ones that you're going to run across the most often, like... here you go. So, you got your 4 or 5 piece elbows. I mean, there's even a different total equivalent length for a 3-piece elbow, but it tells you what that equivalent length is, what it adds to your total equivalent length of your entire duct system, okay? So it even shows you like pan joists, panned return airs, shows you if you have a return air that deadheads into a duct, what that equivalent length is. 55 feet. So that's a horrible fitting. I mean, that's cutting into your budget for on your static pressure right away. So that's why it's really important to do good fittings off of your equipment. You know, even just adding like a little radius here cuts that down to 35. So you just cut 20 feet of equivalent length of your duct system just by eliminating that and putting a tapered edge there. So lots of cool stuff here, guys. Like how do you take off? How you do your takeoffs? If you flare them, you know, it's less than if you do a straight piece. That's actually 40 and 40. That's kind of weird. Shows you if you have a round coming off what that is. So lots of cool information in this book, guys. And you know, even shows you like different boots, different radius fittings. It's like an old OG fitting there. You know, like a wall stack. It shows you every fitting that we'll ever run across in the trade. Takeoffs on trunk lines. So anyway, we'll get back to this stuff, but it's a very awesome book. If you really want to make your customers happy on a new build and you want to do things right, follow this to a T. So let's go back over here to the dry erase board. So I kind of mocked up here, you know, a fictional system, but you know, a scenario that you may run across. So the first thing you want to do is draw it out and get all your measurements on where each run's going to be. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find what the longest one would be, and that's what we're going to size our blower, what the longest total equivalent length run is, okay? And you know, this is all fictional. You'll want to do the math and figure out exactly, you know, where you're losing your length and whatnot. So if you come over here, so let's say we're going to say this is a furnace standing up with a plenum and a takeoff, okay? So if you come over here, that's equivalent to 35 feet per the book, right? Let me get the lighting better here. 35 feet. So right there, we have 35 feet before we've even begun, okay? I'm gonna call this, well, this is the return, sorry. So the supply is 35 feet just right here. Then you can start adding up all these lengths, okay? So I'll be back in a second. I'll show you how we add all those up. Okay, guys, we're back. So I added a couple things here I was missing. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to find our furthest, well, let me say that differently, our supply run that has the most total equivalent length, okay? So what you want to do, let's say that this fitting coming off here for your supply on your equipment is equivalent to 35 feet, okay? Then you're going to add 15 for that trunk run there, so 50, and then 25, 75, I don't know, was that 90? Let's say 90 to this one. Let's say this is our longest one, okay? 25 feet total equivalent length for that takeoff, so it'll be 115. And then you got, let's say your boot is 10 feet of total equivalent length. Does that make sense? So each fitting has a total equivalent length. So your boot, your takeoff, you know, your straight trunk run, that's basic feet, and then whatever you're losing to do your fittings here by your equipment. So that adds up to 125 total equivalent length on your supply air. Let's do our return because we're going to add them together, because our total equivalent length equals our return and supply added together, okay? So let's say, you know, our return air is coming up, there's an elbow, and it's going to do another elbow, do something weird, okay? So let's say that adds up to 90 feet. And then we have 40 feet of pipe, and then let's say our C box and how we tap into that adds 30. So 30 plus 40, 70, plus 90 would give us our return air total equivalent length of 160 feet. So then what we do is we're going to add both of those together. So 285, okay? So we're going to put that number down here. I will be right back. Okay, guys, so I went ahead and wrote that in there so you don't get confused. So FR is friction rate, and then I wrote a 285 in there. Now, I know a lot of you will just go out and buy like the right soft programs. It does all this for you. It'll draw your duct out for you. But I don't think it's very accurate. Plus, I think there's a lot to be said for doing it by hand, because you can tweak it and make it, you know, more as built as opposed to just a program spitting it out, because once you get on site it changes, trust me. And of course you want to verify your static pressures and stuff when you're done installing the system. So let's go back to this formula here. So available static pressure times 100 over 285 will give us what we need to put on our slide rule for sizing this duct, okay? How do we get this number? I'll show you. So let's say, you know, this is a smaller system. We have 8 runs here. Let's say it's a 2-ton system, whatever. We want 800 CFM, okay? Well, this is where you go back to your manufacturer's equipment data and find out what external static pressure gives us 800 CFM. This is all fictional. So let's say on this piece of equipment that 0.67 ESP, external static pressure, gives us 800 CFM. Well, we have a budget of that total, okay, with our duct system. So we need to do, what we need to do is, sorry about that, guys. My dog likes to sneak into the garage here and try to get into the garbage, the trash bag that's out here. Oh, trying to do this stuff on the weekend when everybody's all rambunctious on a Sunday. So let's continue on here. So available static pressure. How do we come up with that? So what we need to do is find out what component losses that we have. And this is all in the book, guys. Go get the book. It's an awesome book. And read it thoroughly. There's a lot of good information in there, but I'm going to go over it with you real quick. So you want to find out what your component losses are, okay? And the number's already there. So let's say your coil has a static pressure loss of 0.2, your filter static pressure loss of 0.15, supply grill 0.03, return grill 0.03, and these are pretty standard actually. If in the component section of the book, it tells you what your losses are in certain things. Let's say you have a balancing damper in there, that'd be another 0.03 loss. So those all add up to, hold on, that's wrong. Those all add up to 0.44, okay? That's, yeah, 0.35 plus the 0.09. So your component losses are 0.44. So then what you're going to do is take this and subtract that from it, okay? So that gives us an available static pressure of 0.23, okay? So let's write that in there. So take that off there. We're going to do some math here. So let me erase all this because I think you got this. Take a picture of that if you want. Like I said, this is a quick overview of how to design these duct systems. I'll just scan this whole thing for you real quick. I've done it so many times. I know it's hard if you've never done it before. Let me fill in these values and then I'm going to write it all out here for you and I'll be back, okay? Okay guys, I cleared this and wrote this out for you. So remember, this was our available static pressure. This is basically the budget we have in our duct system, okay? So it was 0.23 times 100 over our total equivalent length of duct, which was 285, okay? So that gives you 23 over 285, and that converts to 0.0807 or just 0.08 on your slide rule. So that's how we get our friction rate on our ductulator. It's not static pressure, it's our friction rate that we have. It's basically, I call it a budget for our duct system, okay? So tomorrow, or actually sometime this week, I'll finish this out. I wanted to do this in 3 parts, and there's stuff missing, guys, okay? This is just the basics. What I'm going to do is show you how to utilize this to turn these into duct sizes, okay? It's very, very easy to do. It's not just a matter of putting your slide rule on 0.08 and rolling for it. I'm going to show you how you want to do this extended plenum system and reduce and do all that properly to keep your velocities where you need them to be. All right, guys, distraction number 5 million. I'm trying to do this on a Sunday, so I'm gonna get back to the family. We're gonna go grocery shopping and stuff. But yeah, let's reconvene. I'm gonna show you how to turn all of this into duct sizes based on this by knowing how to do all of this math. Okay, it's very important. You don't want to just guess. Yeah, you could have put just 0.808 on and you got lucky and it worked, but it's not always going to be that. It's going to vary on each duct system depending on how it's laid out, what type of fittings you have, what equipment you're using, you know, how you build your takeoffs. Everything works together. It's not just slamming it in and hoping it works. So I'll be back tomorrow, and I'm going to show you how we do a real world duct sizing based off these formulas that we just did. So I'll see you guys back here, not tomorrow, probably sometime this week. Might even be next weekend, because I'll be doing my ride along videos this week. So stay tuned, guys.